A very warm welcome to the Gama Innovation Conference and Awards 2024.
It's a great pleasure to be here, and those of you who've attended this before will have a very strong sense of deja vu, because I think I've spoken at every one of these 9 events over the last years. Sometimes not physically present, actually. A couple of times I've had to do it virtually. But what I have noticed today, particularly, is what I would describe as a bit of a transformation in the way that this event is presenting itself, partly because for, I think, the 4th or 5th time, this is an event that's going around the world, and people are attending wherever they are, wherever they live and work. And that's very important because, as all of you will have seen as you've walked around the zone upstairs, you will have seen that the products that are promoting themselves here and the innovations that are mentioned in your guide and the people who are competing for the awards today come from all over the world. And it's an extraordinary feat to bring all of those different players into the same space to compete for these awards. And they really do make a difference to those who win them and to those who are commended, because they give them a platform which they wouldn't otherwise get through the increasing globality of these awards. So I really do pay tribute to Cesar and to his team for what they've done over the last 9 years. And I'm particularly looking forward to the 10th anniversary. I chair the UK government's Food Export Council. And I mean, you may ask, why on earth would anybody ask him to do it? Well, the real reason is I used to run the Food and Drink Federation in the UK, and before that I worked for Diageo, the world's biggest drinks business, as chief of staff to the CEO for 14 years. And before that I worked for Boots the Chemist, which used to be a food retailer, used to be the largest seller of sandwiches in the world, not a fact that many people realise. And through all of that time, what's been fascinating to me is to see the way that the food and drink industry has grown in the UK, but how it has also reflected global trends. And we were just talking I was just talking with our friend from the Czech Republic about why you would want to come to Manchester, why you would want to come to the UK to road test and to start your journey with the UK food market. And the simple answer is it's an extremely accessible, easy market to work in. We have a relatively small number of major outlets, one might say too few major supermarkets, very concentrated ownership. And there are some difficulties in getting to scale in the UK market. And I was interested that, as I was talking about scaling up, that seems to me to be one of the biggest concerns for startup businesses with consumer goods products generally in the UK. The move from having 50 listings in a major supermarket to going to having 200 listings in a major retailer or supermarket is a really, really serious undertaking. And as any of you who have done it will know, that is the point at which many business entrepreneurs find it just too exhausting and check out. And they'll sell that, and the really sad part of the innovation journey is often brilliant innovations come up, they feature, and then the entrepreneur who has created them finds it very difficult to sustain the energy required and may well sell to a big competitor, and that isn't always the best future for those products. But where you can do it, there is the opportunity to build a really serious presence with relative ease in the market here. And the other part of my job as chair of the Export Council, gives me the opportunity to say that exports from the UK are hugely, hugely valued around the world. And anybody who was at Seattle earlier in the week will have seen that. Sometimes the UK government doesn't recognise that, in my view, and I think we need a stronger presence of government support and help to push UK products. But one thing is clear, the global shopper wherever they do their shopping, is very keen to see UK products and very interested in innovative UK products. So all of you here from the UK should see that as a real challenge to move your products forward. I do realise how difficult the scale, you know, I've worked for Boots, big company, for Diageo, big company, and then the representative of the Food and Drink Federation, lots of big companies and lots of smaller ones, but lots of big companies. So you reasonably say, well, what do you know about startups? And the answer is, I'm chairman of one. Right now, I'm chairing a food startup in a rather strange part of the industry. I'm chair of a blockchain company, which will provide the way in which those businesses active in the European Union can effectively meet the Corporate Responsibility and Sustainability Directive where the blockchain gives us the facility to offer those businesses traceability and data control to meet the increasingly tough requirements of that directive. But my goodness, it's hard work. I mean, let me tell you, having done this for 6 months, this is the hardest I've worked in the 40 years I've been in business. Being chief of staff to the chief executive of Diageo was an absolute bloody doddle by the side of this. You just had to make sure he was in the right place at the right time and didn't get too cross about things that he couldn't control. This is like shoveling fog. But it is, so I take my hat off, if I had one, to all of you who are here, who are the innovators, who are the startup activists, I suppose. I take my hat off to you because the resilience that you require and the belief in your product that you have to have is just extraordinary. And I'm in awe, to be honest, of all of you. And whether you succeed with this particular innovation or the next one, I know that it really involves your heart and soul, and that is just the most fantastic achievement for you to do that. And it's a huge honour for me to be here to recognise those achievements. I've been asked to say something about the future of the UK business, UK food industry, and I think actually the first thing I'd say is that Tom will tell you all about it in a minute, because every time I've listened to Tom's report on the top 5 trends over the last 9 years, I've seen it made manifest. And it's really worth listening to what Tom says, because although some of them are not immediately obvious, all of them, I think, over the last 9 years have proved to be important pointers to the future. And for me, that says that the UK industry is in decent health. We are about to go into a pretty big onslaught, probably next Wednesday, from the government, because I think we will see in the UK, I think we will see a really major change in the way the government looks at the food industry. And it won't be because of the industry, as it were. It will be because the government needs to address major problems in our health system and particularly in our NHS. So I think you will see major moves in the budget on obesity. I would be quite surprised, although it may not happen immediately, but I'd be quite surprised if there wasn't an extension of the sugar tax, the soft drinks levy into other categories, or at least the suggestion that that's coming. And I think you will see a big focus on using good food products for preventative measures in trying to combat obesity and other health conditions. I think that's the only way the government will be able to fund some of what it has to do. And as an industry, I think we do have to respond. I think it is incumbent on the industry to move forward with products that do enhance shoppers' and consumers' health. And what's wonderful about what I've seen upstairs is that almost all of them have that kind of aspect to them. I'm particularly fond, but this is a very personal preference, to the lady who's got this fantastic spray for your teeth if you drink too much red wine. I'm going to move as quickly as I can to get the makers of Shiraz to provide this free with every bottle. But it is a huge, I mean, I do think it's an really interesting a really interesting innovation. And I'm very, very fond of the chicory and coffee substitute you're going to hear about in a moment. I'm going to take that home with me and think about how one could do something with that. I think it's a brilliant innovation. But they're all brilliant innovations. But they're all also, and it's really interesting to note how you're all stressing the health benefits that these products bring and how little sugar features in quite a lot of them. Now, I wouldn't demonize sugar because I think it's a really important part of our diet, but I do think that the way in which we are now seeing what we consume as being part of the way that we protect ourselves against disease and the way we improve our health is going to be the strongest trend I can see, and that will also apply incidentally to packaging. It's going to be the trend that lights up the next 20 years of the food industry in this country and in many others. So there are lots of challenges, but your presence here today and the fantastic array of products on show upstairs really emphasizes just how exciting that future will be. And I'm really sorry that I have to go off and do something else now, but I really have enjoyed the last couple of hours here. I look forward, if any of you want to talk to me about exports, I'm delighted to do that, and Cesar can put you in touch with me. And I wish you great success. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens to all of these products, and I will be buying probably something like 10,000 of those little vials that clean your teeth, because not only do I need them, but almost all of my mates need them pretty urgently. So you've got a captive market there. Thanks for listening. I wish you very well. And Cesar, hats off to you too for what is such a brilliant event, and which goes from strength to strength, just like the industry it represents. Thank you very much.